Alright YouTube, so today we got us a quality race video. It's like two black guys explain to us what white privilege is in 5 minutes. As I mentioned previously, it is a 5-minute video, so we're not going to be doing the usual, like, watch it, then break it down, because then it'd be like a stupidly long video. It's already going to be pretty long anyways. It's going to be over 10 minutes for sure. It's going to be a longer video. So we're going to have to break it down as we go, which is fine, I guess. But let's get into this shit. And I absolutely do mean shit. Oh yeah, really quick. I learned about this through The Amazing Atheist, which is a really great channel. I like all the shit, pretty much all the content he produces is entertaining. But in his response video, he mentioned that the original video had like 4 million plus views or something in like a short amount of time. I wish I could find it because I'd like to see the like and dislike ratio and see what people think, but I couldn't find it, so we don't have that information, sadly. But anyways, let's get into it.
What's good? My name is Charity Croft. Have you ever been called unprofessional for wearing your hair the way it naturally grows out of your scalp?
Whoa, my guy, you gotta slow the fuck down with your talking there. He's talking super fast. My guess is they had a bunch of material for this video, and they were legitimately trying to squeeze it into the 5-minute window, so they're talking as fast as they can. That guy's super energetic and fucking motions and hand motions and shit constantly throughout the video. The other guy's really like kind of calm and relaxed. This other guy's like joking the entire time. But to respond to what he actually says, he shows a video of a black woman with like dreadlocks or something in her hair. That's not natural hair. Nobody's hair naturally grows like that. You're a fucking idiot. You couldn't choose one actual picture of some black woman with natural hair. You had to show, you can't Google image search just a black woman with natural hair. You had to use a fucking picture of dreadlocks. You're a fucking idiot. You can't even edit your own videos correctly.
Is your race accused of being terrorists for wearing scarves on their heads?
Okay, first up, if you're going to stand up for this race of people, you can at least not refer to it as a scarf on their head. Like, it technically is a scarf, I suppose, but if you're trying to stand up for them, you can refer to it as what it's called, a hijab, niqab, burqa, whatever. It sounds just offensive when you go, for wearing scarves on their head. Like, that just sounds offensive to me. I don't know if you guys agree. And just to kind of clear some of the other shit up, I suppose, people profile Muslims as terrorists because most terrorist acts are carried out by Muslim people. This is just statistics, man. It happens in their countries, it happens in our country, it happens in other countries. That's what it is. It's not to say that every Muslim is a fucking terrorist, and it's not to say that every terrorist act is only carried out by Muslims, but statistically, it's almost always carried out by people of Muslim faith or race, religion, whatever it is.
Have you been stereotyped as a thug, terrorist, gang member, ghetto, lawn mowing guy, rapper, or immigrant for no reason at all when you were just like, standing there? Well, if you said no to most or all of those questions, then you, my friend, have what is called white privilege.
Yeah, I can't explain that fucking hand motion, but just because I've never been profiled as any of those things doesn't mean I have white privilege, and not everybody that you show in that picture, all those different races and shit, have been profiled ever. I guarantee most of those people you showed have never been profiled. And I understand the point you're trying to make, but to choose that picture of that Mexican guy and refer to him as lawn mowing guy is yourself stereotyping, because that's what you think a typical Mexican guy who does lawn work looks like. So you yourself are stereotyping. I don't know if you realize that.
White privilege. Yes, Jacob, white privilege. He sings well. That's all the black privilege we get. Oh, and also he plays basketball. It all started with a basketball, y'all.
Now, this might sound offensive to some people, but I live in the middle of America in fucking country Oklahoma, and pretty much every black guy I've ever met plays basketball. Now, if that offends you, it's not my fucking fault you choose to play basketball. If you want to be profiled as somebody that enjoys playing basketball, don't fucking play basketball. It's not my fault you enjoy the sport. But every black guy I've ever met pretty much plays basketball, so I assume most of them do. And if I were to ask any black guy, I'm like, hey man, you enjoy basketball? They're going to say yes, like most of the time. Whether that's racist or not, I don't know. But also, how is any of that indicative of my white privilege?
But we're not talking about rapping, dancing, singing black privilege. We're talking about world-dominating, culturally appropriating, ruling almost every nation white privilege.
What year do they think this is? Fucking ruling every goddamn nation? What are you talking about? And didn't we just have a black president for 8 fucking years straight? That's like about a third of my life. I've had a black president. Do you see me complaining because he's not white? Fuck no. And having a black president, I mean, the president of the United States is kind of considered like the leader of the world. I know that's not true, but like most people see the United States as like the leading country in the world, and the president being the leader of the country, leader of the world, more or less. So pretty much the guy at the top of the fucking world was a black president. I don't understand what this shit is. And then bitching about Katy Perry dressing up as an Egyptian person or whatever, that's not cultural appropriation. It's a fucking costume. God damn it.
Now what in tarnation is white privilege? I'll work for everything I ever got, I tell you what.
Ah, of course. You can do that with white people, right? You can just make fun of them, and every white person wears overalls and talks with a country accent and shit. Yeah, of course, it's okay because you're black and I'm white. Yeah, it's fun.
I'm sure you did, Mr. or Mrs. White Privilege, but your skin made it way easier. White privilege means no one questions why you got into that really, really great school or how you got that really, really great job. It's just assumed that you're highly qualified.
Alright, I'm not sure what world they think we live in, but nobody's hiring people because of their skin color. If somebody's getting a really, really good job, it's because they're fucking qualified. People aren't going to look at him and be like, well, I have this really qualified black guy here for the interview, but there's also a white guy, so let's hire him instead because he's white. He doesn't know what he's doing at all, but he's also white, so that definitely qualifies him.
White privilege is living in a country in which 87% of the lawmakers look like you, despite the fact that your race makes up nowhere near 87% of the country.
If your only concern about somebody in a political position is their skin color, you have no position to be talking about politics. We mentioned it before, there's plenty of fucking people, black and all different races and shit, that have political positions. I don't even know if that statistic is correct, the 87% thing, or 87% of the country, whatever. But if your only concern is skin color, you yourself are stereotyped, and I don't fucking get it. You don't know what you're talking about.
White privilege is Googling the word beauty and it's showing hundreds of pictures of white women.
White privilege is Googling the word God and it's showing hundreds of pictures of white men.
See, unlike them, I'm actually going to Google this shit for you guys because they just showed a cropped picture. So let's type in the word beauty. Would you fucking look at that? The third picture is a black woman. There's also some kind of Barbie doll of color. I don't know. Most of these are white, I'll give you that much. Or probably white. I mean, the skin color looks white. But we also have Ethan from H3H3. Now, that should be up to the top. That is actual beauty. Now, of course, my screen recording program fucked up. But if you Google image search God, it is mostly all white people. You get a little hint of Morgan Freeman from Bruce Almighty down in the bottom right corner, which is actually like the most popular depiction of God, is a black man. And when that movie came out, I don't remember anybody bitching because God was black, but of course, because God is white, we have the black community complaining, as if it even fucking matters. Christianity is a mostly white religion. Now, hear me out before you get triggered. You can definitely be a person of color and be a Christian, but it's predominantly a white religion. There are plenty of other religions in the world. There's black religions. You don't see me getting triggered because their God isn't white. But it's mostly a white religion, so of course they depict their God as a white person. You can Google image search black God, I'm sure, and there's pictures of them, and you can be of a person who believes that that's what God looks like. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you want God to be, you can picture him however you want. No actual human knows what he looks like anyway, even if he does exist. And to further wrap up that segment, I don't see how Google image searching God or beauty and it showing white people is anyway benefiting my white privilege, because I'm getting fucking nothing out of that.
White privilege means you don't have to worry about being monitored in the store because you look like you steal stuff.
That's a fucking lie. I've been followed plenty of times in like Walmart and other stores because I look like I'm somebody who's gonna steal. Probably because I am there to steal. I have done some shoplifting in my time. It happens. We're all young and stupid once. But I mean, to think that only black people get fucking accused of shoplifting, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. I've also been caught shoplifting as a teenager, so I guess it's my white privilege to get thrown in fucking handcuffs and have my mom whoop my ass.
White privilege is being 6 times less likely to be arrested than black people.
Oh my god, we talked about this before in previous videos as well. Most crimes are committed, not most crimes, but a majority of crimes are committed by black people. Most violent crimes, theft, robbery, murder, all that shit are committed by the majority of black people. Now, that's not to say that all black people are criminals, or that white people don't commit crimes. But if you're more likely to commit a crime, if your race is more likely to commit a crime, then you're more likely to get arrested. And that's just how that works. And be happy that you're at least getting arrested and not fucking shot, because that's the real stereotype, right? All cops kill black people.
White privilege is your history being taught as a part of the core curriculum and mine being offered as an elective.
White privilege is reading a history book that doesn't start off with you being a slave or a barbaric savage.
White privilege is being able to teach history only from the perspective of the colonizer.
Now, I'm not sure what you guys learned in school, but I learned a little bit about black history. I mean, of course, there's the slavery shit. There's also, like, Martin Luther King and all that stuff. But we learned about a little bit of black history. We're not learning white history in school. We're learning American history. And it just so happens that America began with white people. There were already people living here. Yes, there's the Indians and all that shit. Also, we learned about Indians. Yeah, there you go. There's some non-white shit we learned about. But there's already people living here. Yes, but it wasn't America until white people settled here and made it into what it is today. It is a country based on white people. It just so happens that the people in the history of this country happen to be fucking white. Get over it.
Speaking of colonization, white privilege is being able to get lost at sea thinking you're going to India, end up somewhere else that already had millions of people and still be credited as discovering the country. In fact, white privilege is when anything that you didn't know about is a new discovery as soon as you notice it.
That's got to be the dumbest shit I've ever heard. How is it not a new discovery? If it's something you've never noticed before, as soon as you notice it, it is now a new discovery to you. That doesn't make any fucking sense that that's white privilege. It's so goddamn stupid. Like, please explain to me how finding something out for the first time is not a new discovery. Just explain that shit to me really quick.
White privilege means the ability to protest racism, ask for equality, and not be considered a hate group. White privilege is also having a hate group like the KKK be listed as a non-violent Christian organization and not have the rest of your race be labeled as terrorists.
Oh, that was deep with the filter, the zoom in, the walk off. Man, I'm feeling that. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and defend the KKK. Don't get me fucking wrong on that shit. But when's the last time the KKK did anything fucking violent? It's been like, what, 20, 30, 40 years or something. It's been a long goddamn time since the KKK did anything of relevance. I didn't even know they were still around. Now, if you're talking about BLM with the protests and all that shit, well, I'm fucking sorry, but everything I see from BLM is mostly fucking violent stuff. It's like, I've seen the videos, fuck white people, them pulling white people out of their goddamn cars and beating the shit out of them. Yeah, that's pretty goddamn violent. Maybe if so many protests didn't get out of hand and black people weren't looting stores and lighting cars on fire, they wouldn't be labeled as a violent group.
White privilege is not having your application thrown out because your name is weird. In fact, white privilege is when anything that's not regular or common to your race is weird.
I think this guy's trying to be funny with his all upbeat personality and waving his arms around and shit, but it's not. It's actually kind of fucking annoying. But we already touched on this earlier with the job thing, and nobody's not giving you a job because of the color of your skin, or especially if your name's weird. Like, they're not going to throw your application out if you're fucking qualified. If you don't get the job, maybe you're just not the right person for the fucking job.
White privilege is being able to walk into a church, kill 8 people, then be walked out by police and taken to Burger King.
Look, I remember the story happening. I remember all that happening. I don't know if the Burger King thing is factual. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But this isn't like white privilege. I couldn't go shoot up at a church and just get taken to fucking Burger King. That's like a one-time thing that you hear about. It's like a rare occasion. That shit does not happen on the regular. We don't just get away with shooting up churches and shit, man. You need to calm the fuck down.
White privilege is not having the celebration of your entire race's contributions to the world relegated to just 1 month because we talk about the cool stuff your ancestors did every month.
I don't even know why this needs to be talked about, but we don't even have like a white pride month because that would be viewed as racist if we were to take pride in being white. Your people get an entire fucking month dedicated to you, white, or Black history rather, and we get nothing. I mean, and we're not sitting around every fucking month celebrating white fucking history. That is not the fucking case. Goddamn.
White privilege means you want to be told to go back to your country.
White privilege is being able to come to a country and literally massacre 90% of the indigenous people and then enslave the other 10% and then say it is your God-given manifest destiny to shine from sea to shining sea. So you continue to slaughter the whole country and then give it your own name and your own laws, and yet you are never called a terrorist or a warmongering murderer or a psychopath, but instead you get your face literally carved on the side of the very mountains in which you stole, and thereby glorified forever as not a deranged killer, but a founding father who did something courageous and beautiful.
This is like 95% of the black community that thinks white people are all racist is this shit. Like the shit that happened in history, slavery and all that shit. The stuff we have no goddamn control over because it happened hundreds of years ago. You can't change the fucking past. It happened. They seem to think that if shit like this happened today, that we'd all be okay with it. Nobody give a shit. Like, white people can do what they want, you know? White people can just enslave and slaughter fucking countries. No, that's not the fucking case. And yeah, the presidents have done some bad things, of course. The older presidents, that is. But for the most part, our presidents have done some pretty great things. That's why they're on Mount Rushmore.
But how can we move forward if we dwell on the past? Plus, I mean, there were white slaves in America too, right?
Little nigga, no, it was not.
Well, not quite, but there were indentured servants. And in the slave codes of 1705, especially in the act concerning servants and slaves, colonial rulers so graciously awarded the poor whites certain legislated privileges.
In fact, Chet, tell them what they won.
A small plot of land, wages after their sentence was over, the right to sue masters in court, and exemption from public whipping for punishment.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't know shit about indentured servitude. I don't even know if I ever even learned about that shit. But, I mean, it doesn't sound, it's not really all great. If you watch, like, Made an Atheist video about this same video he's responding to, he explains that it wasn't all that cracked up to be. They usually tried to kill their indentured servants before their sentence was up so they didn't have to pay them afterwards. Whether or not that's true, I'm not sure. But I can tell you that him acting like a fucking typical or stereotypical white person right there, why is that okay? I just don't get it. Like, do you imagine if I threw on the camera and did like blackface and started dancing around doing like typical black people shit, how much hate I would get?
While at the same time, the legislator wrote down the laws which provided the institutionalized foundations for chattel slavery for Africans.
What's in the chattel slavery package, Chet?
Well, all sorts of horrible things like pulling apart families, sending children, mothers, and fathers in 3 different directions, free beatings for speaking in your native tongue, casual lynchings and public beatings, rape, and many other atrocities for a couple 100 years. Ah, so bad it's almost good. Really?
More slavery stuff, of course. I don't know if they know this or if they don't do their research before making videos, but slavery has been in like every fucking race throughout the history of time. Everybody has had slaves at some point. Every race has been enslaved at some point. We even got our first slaves. White people got their first slaves from black people who had enslaved their own people. I don't know if nobody ever talks about that, but that's actually what happened.
Of course not. From that time on throughout U.S. history, to be white, even to be poor and white, has meant to have access to certain forms of preferential treatment or privilege. Now, this is not said to make white people feel guilty about their privilege. It's not your fault you were born white skinned, and I get it. You're not your ancestors. But whether you realize it or not, you do benefit from it, and it is your fault if you do not maintain awareness of that fact.
White privilege is absolutely a thing. And being able to deny the fact that it is a thing simply because it doesn't affect you is even a further testament to its existence.
They've gone the whole video talking about white privilege and how we have it and everything, and then he makes the statement of denying white privilege simply because it does not affect me. How can it not affect me if you truly believe that it exists? If it exists, it can't not affect me, so it's kind of contradicting there.
Our world has been purposefully skewed in the favor of white people. And no, you aren't responsible for your ancestors' doings. However, if we do not recognize the problem, then we can never truly remedy it. The first step to enlightenment is awareness of the darkness. If we truly want to live as one, we must first create a world that is good for all. I love you.
They tried to end the video on like a really serious note because that kind of laughy, goofy guy is actually serious for once in the fucking video. But then it ends with them trying to sell us shit. And it kind of makes me wonder if they even give a fuck about the things they're talking about. I mean, the whole time they've been wearing this I love you like shirts and hats, and there's like a fucking pillow or something in the background. And little do you know until the end of the video that it's their own merchandise. And they try to get you to go to the website and sell it. They even plug their GoFundMe so you can donate money to them. And it kind of makes me wonder if they didn't think that the video might go viral and they could just make a bunch of money out of this. And that's what I feel like, because this video has like the original video had like 4 or 5 million views. And then they're also asking for money for GoFundMe and telling you to buy their shirts and stuff. I don't know, man. Kind of makes me wonder. Alright, this video has gone on way fucking longer than I ever thought it would. I do not like making videos this long. I don't even know if I can be entertaining for this amount of time. But they made so many like quick points, like they just say something for like 5 seconds and then move on to the next subject. And it's like, no, you kind of need to talk about this shit a little more. So it ended up being a lot longer than expected, guys, and I apologize for that. But anyways, if you guys want to hook your boy up with the subscribe, we are almost at 2,100. I'm sure we can hit that with ease. That sounded sexual. Anyways, if you guys went on to enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Follow me on Twitter. Links to my social networks are in the description. End of the outro. Later, guys.
White privilege.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake, 'cause I don't fucking care.